Okay, this is not going to be your normal gameplay video. This is more of a, not sure when I'm going to upload it actually, Saturday or Sunday speaky, which is like a variation on the old Friday talkie, except with gameplay. I've done this sort of thing before. It was called a Friday ridey because I did it on a Friday. Except the topic I'm going to be talking about is actually an answer to a Q&A question. But it's a particularly interesting question and one I think I can probably talk about at length, so it's more suited to this kind of video. The question is from, and I never know how to pronounce this, swordghoti. I'm going to say swordghoti because, yeah, link to his channel below. For Q&A, I'm a bloke in his mid-40s. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on getting older and how things change with time? For me, life is vast now compared with 20 years ago. That is a fascinating question because I'm 50. I don't know how the hell that happened. I remember not thinking I would reach 25. And that if I did reach 25, my life was as good as over. You know, that was just too old. I didn't want to go on longer than that. And, you know, I'd drive my motorbike into a wall or something rather than live longer. Back when I rode motorbikes, that shows how long ago I thought that kind of thing. I don't know. Is my life vast compared to how it used to be? Cool that yours is. Mine is sort of not. I'm living currently what I would describe as a minimalist life. And I like it. I really like it. Thing is, I mean, I have... Cool? I'm not a career person. I never have been. An aspect of having Asperger's is work is difficult. You take what you can get because just getting anything is difficult. Holding on to anything is difficult. Meltdown is a problem. Burnout is a problem. I'm a cleaner and I love it. It is the least socially, you know, up the scale of successful career progression and whatnot. It's the lowest I have ever been and I love it, which is strange. But I'm kind of living that way now. I've stopped giving a damn about career progression. I realised some time ago I was not ever going to progress because I'm not a people person. I'm not the kind of person who impresses his boss overly much, though they are impressed where I work now because I keep the place clean along with my colleague who is as good as I am. I've had several colleagues and my current colleague is excellent. But you know, places I've worked, I've never fitted in. I was never going to get anywhere. That being the case, I've never had a mortgage, never bought a house, never accumulated all the things that a person of my age might be expected to have accumulated if they were living what is considered by society, or many in society, or some aspects of society, certainly your middle classes, what they would expect of a successful person. None of that. But here's the thing, I don't care. I learned quite recently, actually, that all of that just doesn't matter. There are other things you are expected to have by the time you reach 50. You should have your mortgage and your house, probably have paid off your mortgage or be near to it. You should have your family, be married with kids, all of that. You should have your 1 or 2 holidays a year. You should have your nice car. You should have your comfortable furniture and your fancy bookcases full of whatever. All those things that you're supposed to have. I don't have that and I don't care. They just don't matter. I have lived the comfortable middle class life. Wow, this is getting dark. Let me adjust the let me put the exposure on auto so you can see, probably better than I can. It's dark, I should set up camp, but I'm not going to. I'm going to ride along a railway line because that's a sensible thing to do at night. I'm not playing the objective. Yeah. Here's the thing. Where to start? Do you want my life story? You shouldn't. Family life for me, with my family that I grew up with, sucked. It really did. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but it sucked. And when I left, and I left at a fairly young age, I had a job. It wasn't a good job. It didn't pay much. I lived in a flat on a low wage. It was a minimalist life. I was not happy because I thought I need these things that everyone else has. I need the house, I need the family, I need the kids, I need to do all of that stuff. And I wasn't doing that, I wasn't achieving that, and I felt unhappy because I felt like a failure. Because that's what society says you've got to do. I married into a comfortable life, lived in a nice house, had the ready-made family. They you know, I'm not knocking any of the people I lived with, but I learned over a period of time that that was not my life. That was someone else's life. And I tried to be that person. I tried to be the person I was expected to be, and I was miserable as sin because that wasn't me. And things happened and I left. That sounds kind of sinister. It wasn't. It just all turned rather sour and came to an end. And I'm back to the minimalist living, back to effectively financially almost exactly the same as when I was in my teens. And what is different about now compared to then? Wisdom? I am no more intelligent than I was back then. I struggle in the same ways as I struggled back then. I'm still socially awkward. I still don't like being around people. I'm still never going to progress career-wise. My horse is dirty. Okay, I'm not going to stop and brush my horse right now. Yeah, but the difference is, back then I wasn't happy. Now I'm happy because I've realised over time, you know, I'm like 30 and some years on from back then, that those things that society says that you need and you should have by a certain age, it ain't necessarily true. It puts pressure on you to achieve things that might not be suited to you. They certainly ain't suited to me. What the hell's that down there? And trying to achieve the things that were expected just made me unhappy. And here I am now living in a single room in a shared house. But with a hell of a lot more wisdom, and the wisdom to know those things just don't matter. If you want to be happy in your life, don't do the things that society says you should do. Do the things that make you happy, and only the things that make you happy. And anything else is bullshit. A lot of it is like capitalist consumerism. You've got to get rich so you can spend lots of money to make someone else rich. And to get rich, you've got to do lots of hard work to make someone else rich. Because really the person profiting off of your work, hardly any of that is you. Unless you happen to be some company executive or business owner or whatever. It's someone else profiting off of your hard work. Sod that. Anyway, trying not to be too political. What's it like getting older? It's exactly the same as being a teen, in some ways. Still wide-eyed and full of wonder at the world, but also jaded and sickened at the sickness that fills the world as well. And I think I was both of those at a young age, and I still am now. That hasn't changed. What you gain is experience and understanding how the world works. Now, I saw stuff happening in the world at 16, 17, 18, whatever, and it sickened me, and it upset me, and it amazed me, and it all the things that you feel when you look and see how the world is progressing or what's happening. The difference is now I understand why a lot of it happens. So like the sense of wonder or horror is still there, but you gain an understanding of it, of what's going on, of why it's going on. You're able to predict to a degree what is going to happen. There is nothing happening in the world right now that surprises me that I didn't predict in 2008. I knew we were going to be where we're at now. I predicted it. I don't think I ever predicted it in one of my videos, but I know talking to people in the real world, and I sometimes talk to people in the real world, I said, we're heading for dark times, we're heading towards fascism, there's probably going to be an enormous war. I said this in 2008, we're going that way. That's what comes with getting older. You see history repeating itself, you can see things happen, and you can see where they're heading. You don't have that when you're younger. As you get older, you gain that. I suppose it's a good thing, but it's also a scary thing, because seeing dark times approaching is quite scary. Knowing there's nothing you can do about it apart from vote. And sometimes you're not mostly you're not in a position to do that. You can join a protest march if you want to, but chances are it won't gain the exposure it needs to have any effect. Here we go, political cynicism creeping in, sorry about that. BBC is a propaganda state broadcaster, it is not public information. Don't be fooled. Anyway, moving on. I've forgotten, I've lost my track. Yes, you kinda, all the things that you found difficult, all the things that I found difficult, I still find difficult. Dealing with people, still difficult. The world is still amazing and still full of wonder and horror, exactly as when I was a teen, but you gain wisdom, you gain understanding, you sort of grasp why things are the way they are. And that's really about it. That to me is the only thing that's different. Understanding what matters, understanding what you can do about it or not do about it, understanding why things are the way they are, and realizing you're pretty powerless. Oh dear, I don't want to go that way. I ain't going over there. I don't want to get into a gunfight. I don't want to fall off a cliff either. Come up here. Oh, okay. This is a little. I'm going to die. Oh my God. I hope you can see this. I've got no idea. Like I said, I'm not playing the objective. I am just twatting about. Oh, God almighty. This is crazy. This is not sensible. This is not how to play this game. Come on, horsey. Up we go. I'm cold, am I? Okay, thanks for that. Have I got a parachute? Is there a way down? Oh my God. And here, oh God, don't jump, horse. So, yeah, this is nice. I don't think I can go any further that way. Surely not. I'm not going to jump. I'm not ready to die, and that's a thing, isn't it? You get to 50. That's a thing that I don't have now that I had when I was younger, is a sense of immortality. I, for the longest time, a really long time, felt pretty much immortal. It's a ridiculous statement. Obviously I knew I could die, but that felt like a really, really long time away, like long enough that I didn't need to worry about it, long enough that it seemed like it would never happen. So I wasn't going to give it any thought at all. Death was something that happened to other people, and by the time I got old enough to die, death was something they would have cured, is the way my brain thought about it. Ridiculous, but that's just how I thought about it. And then my sister-in-law died when I was about 40, and everything changed. And I had some health problems. I had a significant health scare. I had the 40-year-old person's health test thing. Part of that was an ECG, electrocardiogram, to check my heart. And while the doctor couldn't see anything wrong at all, the machine said there's something wrong here. And so I got sent for an echocardiogram and a stress test. And both of those, actually the echocardiogram said everything was fine, the stress test said that something was not right. And at which point the doctor said, okay, we'll send you for a cardioangiogram, which was a scary procedure, because, well, actually having it done wasn't so scary. It was the once it was done and they took the tube thing out of my artery and I just sprayed blood everywhere. That was scary as a scary thing. But before the angiogram, I got put on statins, low-dose aspirin, and a beta blocker, bisoprolol. At which point, I suddenly, or gradually, over a course of a couple of weeks to a month, went downhill. I would say I went downhill very rapidly, health-wise, it seemed, to the point that I could not walk across the room. And I thought I was dying. I thought, shit, there really was something wrong. My heart's giving out, I'm going to die, and I'm going to die soon. And the feeling is chilling, is the only way I can describe it. It was a sense of horror. It was a really bitter kind of, I'm not done. I've not finished. I've got lots of things that I want to do. I'm not content with where my life is at right now. And it felt like a betrayal that was going to be taken away from me before I was done. And a betrayal by who? My own body, that made no sense. I couldn't get my head around that at all. You know, it was like, it felt like it was the doctors telling me, you're going to die, so I was going to die. I couldn't rationalise it at all. Had a really hard time with that. And then I had the angiogram, and it came back all clear, nothing wrong, you can stop taking the pills. You don't need them. And I stopped taking the pills, and hey, guess what? I was absolutely bloody fine. There was nothing wrong with my heart. I was feeling terrible and couldn't cross the room because the beta blocker had slowed my heart down to such an extent that I wasn't getting enough blood around my body, not enough oxygen. I couldn't metabolize the food I was eating. All that stuff. So actually it had been the doctors that were got it really, really bloody wrong. And you know what those false readings were? Asperger's brings with it a really good dose, side order, if you like, of white coat syndrome. You put me in a room with a doctor or a nurse or a group of nurses doing tests on you, my blood pressure is going to go through the roof. My heart rate is going to be elevated. Those things are going to give false positives on a machine that's checking things like that. So, duh. Yeah, I thought I was going to die. It's sobering. But with that, the combination of that and my sister-in-law dying, I discovered my own mortality. And that is a thing that comes with age, I think. I don't know at what point most people realise they're mortal. I mean, yes, there's always the acknowledgement that people die. There is always the acknowledgement that one day, and that's the thing, one day, you're going to die. You're not going to be here anymore. But it always feels like such a long way off. And then one day something happens and you realise, wow, that might not be such a long time after all. Now my family is not long lived. My dad is dead. My mother nearly died this year. 75 is about the best you can hope for in my family, which gives me about 25 years, which now, I mean, there I was in my teens thinking if I got to 25, wow, that was a really bloody old age, and that was a long time. 25 years was a lifetime, and then some. Now, 25 years to me, it's the blink of an eye. It's not enough. I want more life, fucker, to use the proper line and not the stupid rewritten bullshit from the final cut or whatever the hell they call it. We're talking Blade Runner. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not enough. I want more. And the thing is, the means are there to let people live longer, but the only people who are going to live longer are the people who are really bloody rich. And I mean, that is fair enough. If people didn't die, the world would be too. The world is already too full. But you know, it would. It's just not viable. You have to die, and in the end, dying is what makes life worth living. That sounds bizarre, but it is. If you were never going to die, you would never do anything, because it is so easy to just think, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next year, I'll do something sometime in the future. There's no hurry. Well, sod that. There is. By all means, resting, putting your feet up, relaxing, doing nothing is often a really nice way to spend your time and to be recommended, but not all the time. Do something. Do something sometime. And for some people, a lot of people, maybe most people, having kids is it. That's for a lot of people, that is their shot at immortality. Come on, horsey, swim. I wasn't sure that it could do that, but it can. That's cool. It was a dirty horse. It needed cleaning. I didn't want to brush it. We're going for a swim. Yeah, for a lot of people, having kids that's what it's all about. Have your kids, mission accomplished. Job done, put your feet up. Good for you. I will not knock that. But it's not for me. I have had no kids. I want no kids. Never wanted kids. Never going to have kids. So for me, my purpose has to be something else. And it kind of became YouTube, and just, oh dear, I've knackered my horse. Creativity for me, and I mean, in a sense, having kids is all about creativity. You've created life. Well, I haven't created life, but I've created things. Art, comedy, if you like. I mean, whatever the hell these videos are, I've created something. It could all be gone in an instant. The internet could just be broken, be destroyed. I mean, it only takes one electromagnetic pulse, bam, say goodbye to everything I created anyway, except for a few photos that I've printed, and I appear in a book. Yay, go me. I'm in Ashen's book. It's like physical, hard copy. People have bought this book. Terrible Old Games, you've probably never heard of, by Stuart Ashen. I appear in that. That might seem insignificant to most people, but to me it's like, that's me, that's a shot at immortality. Hard copy, after I'm gone, that'll still be there. I like that. And there will be some people who will think, well, if you think that's an achievement, you're sad. Don't care. I am very much into the minimalist living. I don't want lots of things. I just want to be happy. And that is it for me. Major achievements and career progression and having the fancy house and all of those things, meh. The only thing I want out of life is to be happy. Because why the hell wouldn't you? You only get one shot at life. You get one go. And that's it. You're done. As the saying goes, you're a long time dead. You look at how long the universe has existed and will continue to exist. The length of a human life is so absolutely minuscule. Why, when you're only going to be there for that tiny little blip of time, would you do anything or want to do anything other than what makes you happy? Don't hurt anyone else. You know, don't be happy at someone else's expense. But for God's sake, don't do something that makes you miserable just because it's expected. Sod that. Yeah, that's what getting older has brought home to me. Most stuff doesn't matter. The stuff that does, do what you can. Be happy. Don't screw other people over if you can possibly help it. Yeah, what's this old geezer saying? But of course, if you're in a video game, you can screw them over all you like. Oh dear. I should probably leave now. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say about, oh dear. Yeah, thank you for watching.
Right, hit the subscribe button or I'm getting naked on camera. Go on, do it. Right, you asked for it. Ha! You asked for it. Ha! Ha! Uh-oh.